Unadulterated chaos for 8 seconds. For 8 seconds, we see man and beast locked in a struggle for control. Mason Lowe, a 25-year-old, had these final 8 seconds. As of 2019, no one has ever died while riding a bull at Denver's National Western Stock Show, which has been going on for 118 years. Death was a common occurrence in rodeo. Since 1989, there has been a documented total of 21 fatalities during professional bull riding. However, nothing could have prepared sports fans for the catastrophe that unfolded on that specific Tuesday in January 2019. Tragically, bull rider Mason Lowe has passed away. However, what drew him to the sport initially? The Leeds family moved from Springfield, Missouri to Exeter after Mason was born on September 12, 1993, to be closer to his extended family. Less than 800 people called this town home. Because rodeo was the most popular sport there, it was dubbed the Cowboy Corner. Mason's cousin and dad were rodeo competitors. We might therefore conclude that he was born into the family business. As expected. Throughout his childhood, Mason enjoyed riding horses on the family property. From the time he was a toddler, bull riding piqued his curiosity. Apparently, he began riding the family's milk calves at the tender age of 3. My dad would put me on the back of one of the horses and let me ride it around while we went out and fed them, he said. I only found it entertaining. He obviously had a great time there since he quickly moved on to steers. I don't want to diminish young Mason's enthusiasm, but the tiny town really wasn't all that exciting. There weren't many chances for kids who were encouraged to play to their strengths to become professional athletes in sports like football, baseball, or basketball. And Mason was well aware of his strongest suit. At the tender age of 3, he began his practice. As a young man, he began to follow the professional bull riding circuit and even looked up to Chris Shivers. Shivers became a professional bull rider in 1997 and went on to win the world title in 2000 and 2003. Mason, unsurprisingly, became involved with junior rodeos. So talented was he that he entered amateur bull riding when he was 15 years old, missing out on rodeos in high school. The Midwest was Mason's arena for competition. It was clear that Mason's rapid progress was due to his superior expertise. He frequently admitted that he didn't participate in the process while in high school and that he occasionally felt guilty about it. He felt more prepared for professional tours after participating in amateur events, though. When he was 18 years old, he turned professional and became one of the best prospects in the sport. According to that account, Mason sought for the most aggressive and untamed bulls he could find, as he was a bull rider who found no delight in anything less than challenging himself. He made his professional bull riding debut in 2011 at an event in Arkansas and by 2015 was riding full-time on the premier circuit, reaching the finals of the World Championship for professional bull riders 3 times in a row. He rode bulls for 1 season and finished the season rated 164th in the world. Mason admitted, "It's pretty awesome," as he was relishing in his finest tour year to date. "I've been trying to treat it like a dream and see what happens." He was nursing a wrist ailment that he sustained in the offseason when he had a little setback this summer. They were right to see him as a promising young rider who could challenge the more seasoned pros when he began his 2nd season. Mason had to spend the winter in California to avoid injury, so he couldn't compete. At the Sprint Center in Missouri, where he grew up, he made a subsequent return appearance in February 2017. He had risen to the position of 12th in the world. Following that, he went back to Springfield for the yearly professional bull riding championship close to his hometown. Mason had risen to the 14th spot by the competition's conclusion. Mason rode smooth operator to a perfect score of 90 points and 75 points at the Iron Cowboy competition in Arlington, Texas, at the A10DT Stadium. He was the 2nd rider in the history of the event to accomplish this feat. As a result, he rose to the 9th spot in the world rankings. But he was still able to keep up with his competitive schedule even after sustaining a minor injury in early June from a finished ride. He was limping for a time. Begging the question, at the 14th J.W. Hart Professional Bull Riders Challenge, he rode to victory with an 8-second stay in the 2nd round, proving once again how capable he is. Because of this achievement, he climbed to the 11th spot in the world, and by season's end, he had won almost $100,000. However, it was not the case. Mason fell even worse in the standings by the beginning of the following season. Now that he had dropped to 14th place, he needed to bring his A game. Clearly, he was laser-focused on succeeding so that he could provide adequately for his family. In his words, "I've always thought riding near home is a good place to ride, despite the fact that many riders claim that riding close to home is the most difficult. Seeing me in person is completely different than watching me on TV every week. It's a bit like a mobile rock concert with bull riding added on." Such remarks demonstrate his immense devotion to both the sport and his loved ones. Mason had the opportunity to make it from 2015 to 2017, but he failed to qualify for the Professional Bull Riders World Finals in 2018. After a setback in 2018, Mason decided to get back on track in 2019 by targeting the National Western Stock Show in Denver. The Denver Coliseum was the site of the Professional Bull Riders Velocity Tour event. Both the Denver Western Stock Show and the National Western Stock Show were used interchangeably. Just a short distance from Denver's downtown, this spectacular event features 30 rodeos, 11 horse shows, and plenty of other activities. I gained a new appreciation for Western culture and the indisputable role of the ranching and agricultural sectors after attending the stock show. This explains why, every winter, showgoers from the concrete jungle number in the hundreds of thousands. From the very first performance in 1906 till now, some have treated it like a religious pilgrimage. There has been a strong tradition of community and camaraderie among farmers and ranchers at this event going back more than a century. Attendees catch up with long-lost friends, gain insight into cutting-edge farming and ranching practices, and do some annual business. The absence of any mention of casualties can be attributed to this reason. Up until January 15, 2019, of the 113 years that the bull riding portion of the event has been running, those 8 seconds of mayhem were the essence of bull riding technique. Sitting on 1,500 pounds of furious muscle while holding the bull's rope with one hand was no easy feat for the rider. When the bull's shoulder leaves the chute and breaks the gates plane, the timer starts. While mounted on the bull, the rider must not lean on anything or use their free hand for support. The clock will continue to tick until either the rider's other hand touches the bull or some portion of their body touches the ground. You won't earn any points until you can remain there for the entire 8 seconds. Even though the bull will do all in its power to pull you off its back, you must be able to stay on for the entire 8 seconds in order to qualify. How well you manage the animal and how competent you are. Mason was unfazed by his precipitous drop in the rankings. He still had the 18th spot when he arrived at the stock show. "The way I was trained, you don't quit up even if you're hurting a little bit," he said. "Hopefully, it will reveal a path out if you just keep going." He elaborated by saying that the secret to his success throughout the years has been maintaining a clear head and not thinking too much. He went on to say that being in this frame of mind was crucial anytime he was riding a bull in the chute prior to the ride starting. Regarding the journey itself, he philosophized, you can't really think about it when you're out there. When you begin to anticipate the bull's next move, it's already too late. In a sport like bull riding, when every second counts, Mason's mindset was essential. Mason drew his number at the Denver drawing. Hard Times was the name of the bull. In contrast to other well-known bucking bulls like Bodacious and Bushwhacker, Hard Times was not a violent or notorious animal, despite its moniker. This bull must have lacked malevolent intent and had no interest in hurting riders, as he had taken part in almost 30 competitions without incident. Hard Times weighed more than a ton, yet he was also powerful and athletic. When the chute opened and they sensed the weight of a human on their back, they just felt the instinct to buck their riders off, just like any other bucking bull in the ring. Mason participated in this dance on multiple occasions, each time emerging triumphant and clenching his fist. On previous occasions, he had been defeated by the beast after touching the ground before the 8-second mark. As he lowered his head to the ground, he reflected on his failures and plotted his revenge on the beast, just as a new chance presented itself. The 25-year-old Mason put on his protection gear and prepared to face adversity on this tragic Tuesday. The gates sprang wide as he prepared himself on the hulking mass of bone, muscle, and thick skin. The arena was filled with the yells of the spectators as the Hard Times sprang forth, bucking and kicking madly. Mason, though, was laser-focused, and he gripped the bull rope firmly with his gloved hand. Although this was not his first rodeo, he frequently displayed the same intense intensity at the start of each new bout. Every second felt like an eternity as the enormous difficult times persisted in swaying and bucking beneath him. People were so enthralled that they were on the verge of yelling as he and the bull engaged in a fierce battle. Whether it was applause or boos, Mason and the Terrible Times would not have cared. This struggle for supremacy had them both engrossed. A formidable buck jolted hard twice as the second went on. Because of the pound of muscle, Mason was propelled into the air. In midair, Mason reached out to touch a tuft of fur, but his fingers detected nothing. Regrettably, challenging times persisted. Despite Mason's best efforts, the bull managed to drag him under its hoof. He had landed unprotected at the point where the bull's hooves were about to descend, and the left hoof of the beast slammed into his chest. The onlookers, who had been yelling their heads off, were taken aback by the abrupt change of plans. A previously joyful encounter had abruptly taken a turn for the worse, leaving everyone taken aback. Before Mason could even take a few feet, his leg gave way under him, and he collapsed to the ground. A state of terror ensued. This was an unprecedented occurrence. Other riders hurried to remove Mason from the ring and transport him directly to the hospital as he lay lifeless. He appeared to have it under control until he was unexpectedly bucked off, according to an eyewitness. Up he stood, faltered in the direction of the exit before collapsing. It was a major matter. According to USA Today, Mason was rushed to Denver Health but passed away on Tuesday due to severe damage to his heart valve, and aorta. As soon as word spread, the fans were in disbelief. A short while earlier, they observed Mason sitting on hard times, getting ready to depart the chutes. It was unbelievable that he had really passed away, yet it was true. Executive Director Sean Gleason of the Professional Bull Riders issued a formal statement. "All of us are devastated by Mason's passing. His wife, Abby, and their family are in our hearts and prayers at this time. Our current priority is providing them with comfort and support as they go through this challenging period." Abby, Mason's recently wed wife, their dog Gator, and their family were left to mourn his passing. The weight of the catastrophe was great. No one could have anticipated the demise of a brilliant star. The National Western Stock Show's president and CEO, Paul Andrews, also issued a statement. "We are all grieving the loss of bull rider Mason Lowe here at the rodeo and throughout the stock show community. The entire professional bull riding organization, as well as his fellow riders and his family, are in our prayers and thoughts at this time." Tonight, there will be a tribute to Mason hosted by the Professional Bull Riders and the National Western Stock Show. Each rider wore a unique patch in memory of Mason because the tournament in which he participated was scheduled to conclude the next day. As Gleason mentioned, this is a sign of respect. "We are here to support Mason's brothers and sisters in Denver as they get ready to compete tonight, and our first priority is with Mason's family as they grieve his untimely death." What a tragic conclusion. According to Mason's friend Austin Shirley, hell, he was a cowboy's cowboy. No bull was too big for him to rope, ride, or cover. He said, as a friend, he was just an all-around wonderful guy, and someone you were proud to call a friend. He had a knack for remembering his humble beginnings, even after achieving great success. The entire rodeo community feels this, and it hurts. It doesn't matter if you met him once or saw him every day. As for Mason's character, another source said that he was a decent guy who, even after his professional riding career took off, went back to Southwest Missouri to compete in rodeos and teach younger cowboys the ropes. He was strong. He was from a rodeo family that had cattle and everything that. A simple, industrious country boy. He was skilled on the bulls. Like every child's dream, he achieved stardom. No one in Mason's cherished town could have predicted how difficult it would be to fill his shoes. Authorities say that Mason's village rallied behind his family after the rider's death. "Everyone is carrying on as usual, but it's on everyone's thoughts," someone said. The family is on everyone's mind. Even though the bull had no ill will or purpose, its antics caused a stir among expert bull riders. As per the league's representatives, although bull riding frequently results in injuries, it is important to mention that fatalities are extremely rare. Additionally, since the group's inception in 1992, Mason was the lone third professional bull rider to die in the line of duty. Gilliard Antonio passed away in Brazil last year, while another bull rider, Glenn Keeley, was slain at a show in Albuquerque. The bulls had thrown both riders from their mounts and trampled them. Officials rethought safety measures after bull rider Lane Frost's 1989 death at the Cheyenne Frontier Days. The bull's horn slammed Frost in the back, breaking multiple ribs and severing an artery. He died as a result, as depicted in the 1994 film 8 Seconds. Cody Lambert, a professional bull rider and traveling companion, developed a garment that all riders wore after his death. The segmented design of the vest resembles that of a bulletproof vest. The fact that it spreads the force of a hit over more ground has led some to call it hornproof. Wearing a protective vest is mandatory for all bull riders when competing, as stated in the Professional Bull Riders Rider Safety Guide. Even younger bull riders, those born after 1994, had to wear protective headgear. The 1980s and 1990s also saw another significant shift. Breaking ribs was super common in my day, said a bull rider who had been there before. It has become far less common since Frost passed away. Frankly, it's bizarre. There were near misses. There is a general consensus among athletes that the sport is extremely risky, yet fatalities are extremely uncommon. According to Gleason, bull riders are fully aware of and willing to face the risks associated with their activity. The dangers are known to them, he added. This Western sport has gained the moniker, the most dangerous 8 seconds in sports, yet the Professional Bull Riders Association has insisted that no safety measures have been taken after Mason's death. Andrew Jayangala, a representative for professional bull riders, stated that following Mason's death, the group looked at potential safety measures to take. Nonetheless, it concluded that the occurrence was exceptional and so did not necessitate any modifications to its current procedures. The professional bull riders, though, have found other methods to pay tribute to Mason. Rebranding their yearly St. Louis flagship event to the Mason Lowe Memorial and instituting the Mason Lowe Award, bestowed to the rider with the greatest single ride score throughout the regular season of the Unleash the Beast series, are examples of such changes. To further support students seeking degrees in rodeo, Western sports, or agriculture, the professional bull riders have established the Mason Lowe Memorial Scholarship Program. It was a sad ending for Mason Lowe. His passing was a tremendous blow to the professional bull riding community. Still, many of his friends and fellow riders are thankful he did what he wanted with his life.